one thing I want to ask you about is about the growth of connections in the stunt area, because this is very interesting. Yeah, this is actually quite huge because, she came out here, she's working in production, she's working with camera, she's worked a little bit with the VTR, she's just working in all these different areas, you guys. And she's a very active girl with the dancing, and she started with the sword fighting, or the what is that called? What's that called? The fencing. Yeah, with fencing.
Yeah, fencing or sword play. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's been a bit of a breakthrough for you and for your career to have been gotten into the stunt world with professional stunt coordinators that know you, professional stunt coordinators that know you now, and have brought you into gyms that you're working with people that are well known. And
hmm
so, can you talk a little bit about how going into a certain niche has impacted your career?
It's, I did not think that it was gonna go the way that it has. And I've actually taken a step back from doing stunts per se. I kept enjoying myself and I was like, I don't want this life. And so, so now I use it as more of like, I have this additional skill for acting. However, when I like first joined, my main instructor is Master Mike Chat. He was the Blue Ranger on Lightspeed Force Power Rangers, and he definitely like just helped get in the mindset. He encourages us to go out and stunt hustle, which is similar to one of the techniques that we have in Friends in Film, and
Walk on
it's
set method.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's very similar to that, but instead of meeting production, you're meeting stunt coordinators and all of them. And I was doing that and I got my name out there for that. And I've gotten contact info from those people. But the majority of the stuff that I have been able to do has come from the other people that I have been training with. So the people that I don't know, like I've been in acting class with, or the people that were in my stunt classes, or have gone to other stunt seminars that I've gone to, or panels that I've gone to, and I've met all these different types, and we stay in contact, and we learn each other's skills and what we're both really good at, and then that comes into play when you're thinking about people. So you just maintain those connections. Like an example is I went to an audition um, for stunts. And I walk into the room, and the stunt coordinator, I had no idea who he was. I did not look him up at all. I was just there because I was like, this is a shot for, it was a mocap um, mouse action show that was, it's like originally a children's thing. I forget the name of it, but Mouse Guard, that's what it was called. And so I go to this audition and I walk into the room, and there was just this like really good energy that you could feel coming from the stunt coordinator, at least towards me. I don't know if anyone else felt that. But I got cut from the first round. I just couldn't keep up. I wasn't fast enough of a learner. I wasn't quick enough of a learner for what he was looking for, because he needed people that were like, get it, one and done.
What were you
And
doing for him?
we were doing sword work. It was like
Oh,
a
okay, okay.
full fight, and you go in, you do it, and he looked at me, he's like, okay, you ready? And I had only gone through it twice, and I was like, yeah, well, just see what happens. And I literally said that, and that was the tone. I was like, yeah, let's just go for it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I either have it or I don't. Like, let's do it. So I accidentally hit my partner both times with my sword, because I kept forgetting a certain, like I was supposed to block first and then attack, and I kept just attacking, and I kept forgetting the block. So he looked at me, and the stunt coordinator was like, "Okay, thank you," and I was like, "Yep, thank you." And I walked out, but some of my friends made it to the second round, and I was like, "Oh, I want to see what skill level or what they're going to do in the second round." And so it took so long. He ended up doing the second round of auditions in the parking lot. So we all go out to the parking lot, and I'm watching from the corner, and he does a three-way fight. And he shows it, and he uses two of my friends to basically show everybody else what they're doing. And then everyone else had to watch the fight and learn off of watching the fight to then be able to do it. and do any 3 parts,
Oh, wow. Yeah,
which
that's
was
hard.
crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'm like sitting there watching this happen and everything. And then he, his name is uh, Ilram Choi. And he reached out to me on like, I think he texted me,
Huh.
or for he like found my information off my resume because he noticed me standing in the corner. And so he was like, "Hey, I noticed you were standing over in the corner. I really enjoy people that are like you, who like want to learn more." And he goes, "I would definitely like to offer like you. I'll help you if any questions you want to go over this choreography again and want to like practice it more, like get some pointers." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, yes, yes, please." And he did reach out to a couple of other of my friends the same way. So I like went over. He has like a whole little like training area. Went over and was like chatting with him and like getting to know him a little more. And then like a connection started to build more than what I expected. And then he kind of sensed that and we dated for a little bit. But he was the main stunt performer on Avatar.
Oh, holy shit. Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which was crazy. And then he's
Mm.
done like Pirates of the Caribbean and like all these like big budget
Mm-hmm.
films. And he's in his early 40s and already retired. But because I knew I went to that audition, I ended up meeting him. He's a great person just in general and a great connection to know. And I've been able to go to him for advice like when I'm doing fights. And so now he is a good resource that I have in my friend community
Mm-hmm.
whenever I'm just like, Ada, help me out here. And then he helped me out a lot when I broke my foot as well, and like all this stuff. And he's just been a really great person to know. And that's just from one instance. One, like, that's one. And like that then spreads out. And he's introduced me to other people that I'm now in connection with who are not in the stunt community. Like he has a wide net of friends. And then like going to stunt seminars, that's helped me meet other people and know other stunt coordinators or training that I could be doing. Um, it's really insane the amount of people I met. Like I wouldn't have met Barry if I didn't wasn't in the stunt class. I would never have met him. I would not have my manager right now. I would not have some of the audition opportunities that I've had if I didn't start training. So it's really kind of it's weird how it just ballooned out from something that I was just thinking about doing as a career path. And I was like, let's try it. Let me dabble in it for a little bit. And I still am part of that community and the XMA action stunt community. Um, I'm just not training as hard as some of those people are.
I think this is so freaking smart. So, you know, what she did is she's like, I just want to start learning some additional skills that can help me with
Mm-hmm.
stunts and just see what I'm good at, see where it leads to. So she starts training. And then there's an audition. She goes into the audition. She meets a huge guy for stunts in Los Angeles for all these feature films and forms a personal relationship with them. And now she's met all of his friends, going to, you know, training at a gym that you have to be invited to, that he invited
Yeah.
you to, and meeting more people from that. So she just grew it from there. And now she's finding, you know, I don't really want to go to the levels that I would need to get really good at this and just do stunts, but I can still use it with my acting, and I'm an action actress. I can do a lot of things because of this. I can pick up skills quickly because of this, and I can prove it. I've done it. That's
Mm-hmm.
very valuable. That's part of her story now. And she knows so many people. That's also really important, you guys. That's like vectoring. That's totally what I did. Like when you know people, you're like, oh yeah, I just work with this person. I work out at this gym and I know all these
Mm-hmm.
people and this is my manager. And it just starts to be like, okay, this is somebody. So
Yeah.
congratulations.
Thank you. And it's really interesting too because the gym that I work out, you touched on it, you have to be invited or know someone that takes you there to like bring you into the community. Um, and so this is it's like it's so cool and mind blowing that I'm in this gym. It's insane. But I am I work out alongside people from Nickelback, Aerosmith, um, lead actors, producers, directors of like big budget films. I am working out alongside them in this gym, and it doesn't even feel like any of us are on a different level from the other people. That's how great it is. And I even had like actors that I've recognized. I'll look at my trainer. I'm like, why do they look so familiar? And I whisper to him because I'm like, I don't want them to think that I'm geeking out or like fangirling. I'm just like, why do I recognize them? And it's because they've been on really popular TV shows that I've known and I have watched. And I'm like, oh, that's who that is. Okay, great.
So we got some questions here. Lily
Yeah.
says, "What are some skills you recommend we have before pursuing stunts, if any? Like having a black belt, is that necessary, or what? Do you
Um,
what advice?"
Honestly, nothing is necessary aside the mentality of I'm going to throw myself around. Honestly, like it's really good to have a martial arts or a dance background. Some kind of coordination of any kind is great. So if you don't have coordination, maybe it's not the best thing, but you can always build that up. Um, and honestly, there's people that were in my class that have no background in really anything aside from acting. And if you can stand there and you can just throw a quick punch, I mean, shoot, you can do it. Done. Ta-da.
Wow.
Like,
Well, all right. Now you guys
um,
know. No barriers.
yeah, there's really not like it, you need to be physically fit. You need to know that you're most likely going to get hurt at some point. So you need to be okay with that fact and be okay with having bruises and the mentality to potentially throw yourself off of a 1 story or higher building. Like if you want to do stuff like that, that's cool. You want to do fire, you want to do wire work, go take classes, go figure out how to do it.
Very good.
Yeah. Also, if anyone wants to work out, um, my trainers, they're doing free classes every day, twice a day. Eric the trainer on Instagram, go to his page, Eric, ERIC, the trainer, and you can sign up for his Zoom workouts every day. Um, what's the difference between having a manager versus being with an agency? They do separate things. They do similar things, but a manager helps you manage everything, helps you with your materials, helps you find resources to be able to become better. An agent is all about just booking you out on stuff. That's it. That's all they do. They can cross over because my manager does help me find stuff and helps me book things. But to me, a manager is more valuable than an agency. An agency, depending on who you're with, definitely research them because some of them are just like cattle agencies. They just get all of these people and then they just like go through a random roster and just like submit people. They don't really care about you. So definitely research the agencies that you're with. Ramiro, I've done stage combat. Does that count? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. You cannot count that as saying you are a stunt performer, but you can use that to your advantage because I do it too. It's very similar though. Throwing yourself around, knowing how to fall properly, that's all there. Techniques are just a little different depending on who's training you in stunts, especially for like doing back falls and things like that. But it's definitely really similar. Ashley Huff says, did you encounter any obstacles when you made that choice to move out to LA? I live in Kentucky. I'm really looking into moving to LA the next 2 years. Did you worry about the vast difference in cost of living? So funny, my roommate is from Paducah. So I don't know if you know where that's at, but she's from there. And she moved out here a year before I did. She was a first AC, and now she works at CBS Interactive as a post-production manager, and she coordinates a full team of people, manages a full team of people now. And she's in her mid-20s. She's crushing it, yo. She is freaking crushing it. But so there's always obstacles, especially when I came out here. I came out here by myself. The first obstacle I had to figure out was where am I going to stay? Because when I came out here, it was only going to be for a month. And I was like, let's go test out LA and let's go work on America's Got Talent for a month and see if I like it. So to find a place to stay, I took to Airbnb
Yeah.
and I found a hostel and I stayed in a hostel for a full month. And goodness gracious, that was an obstacle in itself.
It looked really cool. I remember you coming on the call. I'm like, what is this Victorian, dark
Yeah,
paint, Victorian kind of old looking place? But it looked kind of
yeah.
cool. But
It was a cool spot. It was just dirty. And that was my main concern.
yeah,
It's an LA
yeah,
hostel. I got what I paid for, but it was good. It was good for what I needed. There was enough people there to where didn't feel too alone.
yeah.
But I do remember the first day I got there, and after I checked in, I literally, because I drove out here, I went into my car and I cried and called my best friend. I was just bawling. Like so much stress hit me all at once. I was like, oh shit, I'm on my own. I'm actually here. Like, oh gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll never forget
Um,
that. Everybody experiences that. Jake drove out. You drove. I've gotten calls from people as they're driving out.
yeah.
Did you call me as you're driving out?
No, I
No.
didn't.
But we
I
all
was on
remember
a
it.
call. I was
We,
on a call when I was in Colorado, and my friend had just kicked me out of their place that I was staying at. And so I had to find a hotel for that night. And that was another obstacle.
you were on one of the A-list calls. Is that what you're
Yeah.
talking
Oh
about?
no,
Yeah.
it was yeah, it was
Yeah.
one of these calls. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ashley also wanted to know, did I worry about the living cost of living?
Oh yeah.
A little. What I did though was I had 4,000 in my savings and a few hundred in my checking
Yeah.
when I first came out here. And my apartment that I had in Ohio, Columbus, Ohio, I enlisted one of my best friends to help me rent it out on Airbnb while I was out of town paying for an Airbnb. So it sort of balanced it out, especially because of like my rent and everything I still had to pay for. But it didn't really balance itself out. It just helped me a little bit so that I could do this. So definitely it's good to have something saved up. Um,
Yeah, like $3,000 is a good amount, I think.
mhm,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Um,
and she came out here with somebody that said that they were going to hire her, and
yeah, I came out with a
she did.
job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this was somebody
So,
that this is a person that the producer that she met when she was working on another show back in Ohio. So,
mhm,
it's exactly how I always tell you guys to work in your local area. You'll meet people that are flying into your area that will work there, that you can work with. You'll meet them, and then you can move to LA with connections. And that's what happened. Now, usually they just say, "Yeah, come out, and when you get out here, we'll see. I'll help you." But she actually had like there were specific jobs that she was offered to do, and of course they
mhm,
changed and moved around once she got here because that's just production. The new needs change, but that was awesome. That's a good way to go.
yeah. Um, Luana, I'm not exclusively signed. I can leave my manager at any time if I want to. So I don't have to, I'm not required to stay with them. And same for him. He can drop me at any time as well. So it's like, it's just a mutual thing.
Nice.
Monique, Janet, and Parker, what things would you gals do and have ready to take full advantage of the boom of work that's going to come along, particularly for people that are brand new? I, for me, it's different because I already have a good set of connections. So I already know who I would reach out to if I'm looking for work. Um, but I already know who I'll be working with essentially.
Yeah, because once production starts back up again, she's gonna reach out to people and say I'm available or whatever. They're gonna be
Yeah.
reaching out to her.
Like the
Yeah.
producer that I coordinate with, he'll instantly reach out to me and be like, "Hey," because he's actually getting ready to bump me up to production manager on all of his gigs because I do so much for him. Um,
So great.
like, yeah, I do his timesheet. I love doing timesheets. It's like a weird thing, but I love doing them. I'm like, yeah, let me calculate all this stuff for you. Let's
Paperwork.
go.
People hate paperwork, and you're like, I love it.
I
Give
like
me the
making things look
calculator.
uniform and neat and organized. I just
Wow,
love that.
that's good.
But maybe Janet might have more tips for
Yeah,
newbies.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're doing this program, so be studying the modules, know what these methods are going to be. Once production happens, then you know what you're going to have to be doing. You're going to be reaching out to people and getting on shoots, just like Parker did, which got her on set when she's in Ohio. So just do the program, basically. Just watch those videos, take good notes, and as soon as production opens up, you're going to be doing exactly the methods in the program. What we're doing is working on our film-friendly side business, where we take the passions that we have, and you can do this as well.
I
And
do.
oh
I
yes,
have a
of
whole
course, yes. Look. She's got her film-friendly side business is she can sew and design
yeah.
costumes and clothes. Look at this. This is amazing. Yeah, and she's made her own dresses for
Yep.
events. Yeah. You take your passion and then we offer it out there into the world any way that you want. But I am helping people write their profiles, figure out their advertising, figure out what their superpower is, meaning what they can, how they are really good at this certain service, and then getting it out there into the world so that you get some money coming in this way. And then when production work starts happening, then you can offer that on film sets, which is
hmm
definitely an advantage. Now, how have you used your sewing and what would you call it, costume design? Is that what you,
I do fashion design and costume creations.
mm-hmm.
Um, I everyone knows if you meet me, like you end up knowing pretty
Mm-hmm.
quickly that I make my own stuff. Especially if you meet me at a fancy party, because I'm most likely wearing my own thing.
Yeah.
um, but
Which is really great because people will always compliment you on what you're wearing. You're like, oh, I made this, and that, and
yeah,
now it starts a whole conversation.
yeah. I went to
Yeah.
Oscar. I got to go to an Oscar party this past year. It was so much fun, but it was actually a fashion design Oscar viewing party like event, which was really cool. So I wore that dress I just pointed out, the big one, and
The,
everyone came up to like, "Oh my gosh, I love your dress! Your dress is so great! It's so good!" I'm like, "Oh, thank you, I made it!" And they're everyone, every single person, it's the same reaction. They're like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, I literally hand dyed and sewed this whole thing myself." And there was one older gentleman there that after he found that out, anyone that passed by, they were like, he was like, "She made this. She made this. Did you see this?
yeah.
She made this." And then everyone else was like, "Oh, are you one of the models? Are you one of the designers?" Because they were doing fashion shows that day too. And I was like, "No, I'm not." I was like, "But I do a lot of my own stuff. So if you need anything, let me know."
Wow. So
But
great.
I have used it
Mm-hmm.
before to
Mm-hmm.
make money. My roommate
Mm-hmm.
actually, she wanted a very specific um, four-tiered bustle skirt,
Mm-hmm.
and they sold out of it online for Halloween. And I looked at the photos and I was like, I can make that. And I made it for her because I had all the materials, and I was like, I don't need to charge you any kind of like materials fee. I'll just charge you a labor cost essentially. And I gave her a price, and I was like, let me know if this works for you. And she's like, oh yeah, that's great. And she actually ended up paying me more because she loved it so much, and I gave her a little hidden pocket in the skirt so that she could like store all of her stuff. I was like, I looked at her, I was like, did you find the pocket? She goes, pocket, there's a pocket. And then like she like searched for it.
Oh, fun. Just a
It was
little,
great.
a
She loves
little
it, and she tells
surprise.
everyone about it. I almost got a commission off of one of her coworkers to do like a very simple wedding dress that they wanted. And then I've used it to like help other people create costumes for film, their short films and things like that. So yeah.
Very good. Yep. Okay. And then, you have to make a decision whether you want to build up that part of your business or,
Mm-hmm.
because the main goal is going to be it's acting.
Yeah.
So that would take a lot of time building that part up. But it's great to open up all these conversations. Oh, just so great.